Namaste and welcome to the very first episode of Yoga Samvadha with Yoga Acharya Bharath Shetty. So in this series, we aim to look at yoga in depth while understanding the different nuances that yoga has to provide to us. So let's begin. Appa, you know how growing up in this house, having heard of yoga every day, or having listened to people having a conversation with you, or even just, attending classes, I have a basic idea of what yoga is. But when the same thing, I have to go and tell to one of my friends, and how they come up and ask me, what is yoga? If I have to explain it to them, I think that is where my mind just shuts off for a second. So, how should I really tell them what yoga is?
It's very interesting actually. The common man today understand yoga means asanas. Most of the physical activities are asanas. They called yoga. But yoga is a lot beyond. So, understanding our day-to-day life and our presence in every activities it has. So one of the great sage, Vasishtha says, no, Manaprashamanopaya yoga ityabhide. It's really, this is a Vasishtha explained to Rama. This means yoga means mind relaxing tactic. Mind goes in different condition, different things, There is a time, a technique which is calms down the mind and being that present. That's what he says. If you look into the great Rishi, Patanjali says, and he says, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Mind is constantly wandering and too many thoughts running on. How to channelize that and slow down them and to center yourself. That technical yoga. That's why if you're telling a common man, you tell them yoga is not just doing asana, and even doing asana also should make our mind calm, our breath harmonious, and that's a bringing our presence into our day-to-day activities. That becomes yoga.
So, is bringing my body get it by
Even in the harmony and one, the oneness. Even we are meeting here, like we are sitting and talking. This is our yoga. You can just simply say two or more things when joined together, then become a yoga.
Okay, see, now there is so many things, there's so many different aspects when we look about yoga. Obviously, it comes when if you say, okay, I'm doing yoga, just think of asana. But when you're looking at yoga in depth, there is pranayama, there is all of the ashtanga, all of that. So, what are the different aspects that yoga has?
Yoga has that particularly when you are taking the yoga, main the source is in a Patanjali yoga. If you ask him to Patanjali, he says there are two types of yoga. One is called Kriya Yoga, the other one is called Ashtanga Yoga. The Kriya Yoga is in a purification part. Okay, Ashtanga Yoga is in a physical aspect. But this is he put into the sadhana. But the common man can't understand so details. So we generally call even today, people think Ashtanga Yoga means the vinyasa practice. Many people even don't know Ashtanga Yoga means Patanjali has 8 limbs, which is includes certain discipline, yamas and niyamas. So certain things, I have to have certain discipline for myself. That's called niyama. I have to follow the rules of the world. That is called yamas. Then asana be there. Many people think asana itself and a yoga, everything, as you asked in the previous. That's where many people don't understand. Okay, asana is one aspect. Even in asanas, you need body, breath, and mind has to be communicated. Then it's go to the pranayama, which is make your breath more slower and more deeper and deeper. That will help us to withdraw our senses. It's called pratyaya. Okay, this is called external part of Patanjali's yoga school. But internally, internal sadhana called samyama, the dharana dhyana samadhi. Okay, but is it too much for a common man? And also remember, Krishna also called him a Yogishwara, yogi. Yeah, he explains about entire Bhagavad Gita with different yoga. I think you might heard about the first part called the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, second Karma Yoga. I swear, that is a different part. When we think without expecting and applying things that become yoga, or two or more things when joined together, you can call yoga. That's why it's easy to explain to your friends. Generally, you can tell that yoga is not just an asana, and that's it.
So, now that okay, yoga is not just an exercise or something so much more. It's something that has to be for your mind, something for your breath, something for your entire body, for like, every aspect of your body, there's something yoga can do. But you always use this one word when you're talking to somebody, say you have the yoga, then you say Abhyasa. But like when we had a discussion, you always told me that Abhyasa and you practicing is very different. In general, though, if you translate it, Abhyasa means practice. So how is Abhyasa very different from practice?
See, generally people understand practice means just come and they repeat things more times. But Abhyasa, anything you know, Abhyasa, first to understand with the depth. Okay, what you're doing it, you have to have the clarity. After clarifying, then like you're putting into the right pace, right order, and right guidance. This all need part of the Abhyasa. Tatra sthito yatno Abhyasa. That is says Patanjali. Okay, and when you are doing something every day, put a little more effort, a little bit more effort, a little bit more effort, it's constantly growing. In the next also he speaks, Satu Dirka Kala Nairantarya Satkara Sevita. Okay, Abhyasa means whenever you do, you have to, with the reverence, we have to do it. That is also, Dirka means long, Kala is tight, Nainandar continuously. That is, many people don't do it. They do short time and they leave it. Okay, that's why like when we do the consistently like that one get this solid grounding. Abhyasa makes that differences. It not gives you an ego. Abhyasa never gives you an ego. It gives you a grounding. It stabilizes you really strong.
Our generation is so into Instagram and all of that. And even when I'm scrolling, I get a lot of yoga videos where they're showing off different poses and all of that. And when I'm comparing that with the things that you've been telling all of these years and I've been listening to, it feels like they're worlds apart. Like how you tell that there is grounding, yoga is not just on the mat. But I think somewhere on Instagram or on YouTube, the way people portray it is very different. And that is like, how is the traditional yoga, like you are, always teaching of things that people are wanting to learn, very different from what people are being taught today, is general sense in a very modern term of yoga. How are they different and which is better?
See, it is very, very important, Yoga needs some roots. Okay, that's good. Then, like if you have a roots, the sustainability is stronger. If your roots is very strong, that tree can sustain for longer. Similarly, the tradition must be there. But what happened today's generation don't understand. They deeply concentrate only on physical body. As I told you, yoga is not just a physical body exercises. You have to first look into the fundamentals, then align the body with the coordination of breath and mind. But most importantly, only if you concentrate on physical body, what happened? You know it's too much part of the body, but you stuck outside. In yogic term, the physical body considered is a vehicle. Okay, how to go more deeper to find the pranic body, then the mind. Remember, when you're working with the physical body in a good alignment of the breath and body alignment, then you bring in a great balance on entire endocrine system.
So it's like understanding biology of the life.
Yeah, it's like you are no need to go and study, but you have to witness. It's witnessing. Three important aspects here. First, learn to stand properly, making sure all four direction of your feet has an equal weight. If you learn that, a lot of tiredness naturally disappears. Yeah, I think many people don't know. We have in the feet, we have a pressure points. All the pressure point equally pressurized. The whole body is almost into the state of floating. But many of them not. They know the gut muscle, this joint, this ligament, all these things say they work with. But that is a big mistake. Okay, once apart from that, when you are aligning well, your entire endocrine system is centered. Then that functioning becomes easier. As you also know, so as I told you, physical, mental, and emotional. It's also very important. So, see, our hormones are balances when the mind is very relaxed. Like even the general physical term, if you look, the pituitary gland is a master gland to control all the other glands. Okay, when you are having a good balance, That brings in a great the centrally. For that you need a good coordination of breath. The body moves with the breath and body movements with the breath and body becomes so centered and so relaxed.
Yoga is doing what we actually just studied.
Ah. And also remember, when the breath is slows down, no, mind comes to me. Okay, that's why like you have to understand the classical text. That's why you need a proper guidance. A guru is needed there. That's why one of the beautifully this side, one of the Hatha Yoga text says, Chale vatam chale chitta. Nischale nischalam bhave. That means a distracted breath is a distracted mind. When the breath slows down, mind comes. I told you in the beginning, the yoga is all about slowing down the mind, calming down the mind. But this is where, like, you need a proper guidance. Someone can't sleep, It's many times there is so many different things. But one simple thing, make a little disciplining that the today activities. That means divacharya. And before going to bed, do some pranayama. Sleep like a babies.
Then my last question now. I know a lot of my friends that come up to me and say, I wanted to crack case, I want to start. I don't know where I can start. I don't know what to do. And then I'll just say, okay, I'll get back to it. I'll get back. But they're like raw beginner. They have absolutely no idea. So if a beginner wants to start with yoga, where exactly should they start? How should they start yoga?
Yeah, it's the best thing is if a beginner starts, they have to connect with a teacher. And what is the best for them, and they know what is exactly they're looking. On that basis, the teaching has to be go. So in yoga, normally it has to be taught according to their requirement and their ability. Then you said your friends are and all are in the late teenage, right? But they need a lot of dynamics. But at the same time, we have to remember their abilities, how strong they're enough to take in the initial stage. First week has to be tuned well. The second week body adapts very easy. That's where like most of the time they miss it. But in case you think I wrote like someone in the 50s or late 40s, the way of teaching will changes. The beginners also, according to their condition and their requirement of that basis, program has to be designed. That's why you might know, like in the Bharatha Yoga Shala, we have the Kramatvam, Lagutvam and Arogya. The Arogyam and Kramatvam, we have according to every individual person likes. In Lagutvam, we have 3 layers. Beginner's level, intermediate level and advanced level. That's why like, they have to be go in a proper guidance of a teacher. And on that basis, they build it up. Then it's much easier to carry on long time.
I think that's actually very clear on how I have to speak about it. And I think now I can actually answer all of that questions to a certain extent at least. So my last thing was, a lot of people come up to me and say, okay, I have a free time at this space of time in the day. I'm free at this time. I'll do my practice then. But I will like looking at it and it is not actually very correct to just do it when you're free. What is the perfect timing and how do we adapt it with that?
It's difficult to say perfect time. You know why? It's the best time to practice is the morning. Okay, the day starts with your practice. But someone like someone housewives, they're all busy till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. But they are available after 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock. Then there is a program what the teacher teaches, you have to be careful. Okay, as the sun rays, the energy of the day is different. On that basis, you have to be too. Some people morning is impossible, they have a shift work or different other reasons. They're only available in the evening. The approach of the practice changes on that hours. That's why, as I told you in the beginning, you need a proper guidance and a proper teacher who can understand all these differences. Okay, that's like one of the beautiful the sutra is in the Hatha Yoga says. No, he says everyone has to be practice yoga, but according to their ability and their limitation. He said, Yuva vraddo, ati vraddo, vyadito durpan. You see how beautiful is that? You are young, Pratta old, Ati Vradha very old, Vyadika someone has a illness, Durbala someone leave. They all can do yoga practice, they can become master of it, but they have to be do according to their ability and consistently into the practice. You ask me about Abhyasa, no? Abhyasa matters for a long time. This is the way one can overcome and that also beautifully in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, it's all about consistently bringing the balance. Okay, they're balance in the food, balance in the sleep, balance in the activities, extremes of anything to be avoided and centering everything. Say Samatvam Yoga Ucha.
So now I think I can answer all my friends' doubts and I can tell them what they want and I can give them their answers. But I know that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Share this video with someone that you think needs to hear this. Also, we have a lot of topics that we want to discuss, so stay tuned until our next video. Namaste.